Shamima Begum, a young woman who left London at the age of 15 to join ISIL, has lost the appeal against the removal of her British citizenship. This information just in. Let's bring in Nadim Baba. He's joining us from London. So what does this mean for her, Nadim?
Well, this is clearly a setback for Shamima Begum, who is still in that camp in northern Syria, where she was found to be living in 2019, 4 years after she left her home in East London with two friends to go to Turkey and on to Syria, into the so-called caliphate run by ISIL, so-called Islamic State. But this is not the end of the legal challenge that she can bring. She can go to the Court of Appeals here in the UK, the Supreme Court after that, and then her lawyers have even suggested it could go to the European Court of Human Rights. Now, her citizenship was stripped back in 2019 by the then Home Secretary Sajid Javid. He was criticised by a former director of public prosecutions at the time, saying that he'd done so just because he wanted to further his aims to become Prime Minister out of ambition. And that individual said it was immoral. There was, though, a significant part of British public opinion very hostile to Shamima Begum back then, who'd gone, obviously, of her own volition to Syria. She since has given interviews in which she says that she would be prepared to stand trial for membership of ISIL, a terrorist organisation. She denies ever carrying out violent acts or preparing them or training people to do so. Some public sympathy has actually swung her way in those interviews in recent months and years, where she said how she had to marry an ISIL fighter. She lost 3 young children when she was out in Syria. And she basically has challenged her British citizenship removal, saying that it rendered her stateless, which it effectively has done. The British government says she could apply for Bangladeshi citizenship. That country wants nothing to do with her. But her lawyers have also argued that the government have failed to take into account the fact that she was effectively the victim of trafficking.
Right. So remind us once again how the government actually fought to keep her from returning to the UK, Nadim.
Well, all along, they have presented this as a matter of national security. Originally, the Court of Appeals said that Shamima Begum could come back to Britain to try to get her citizenship back. In 2021, the Supreme Court overturned that ruling, and the grounds for that was national security, saying that hadn't been given sufficient consideration. Just at the end of last year, when this hearing started, the government lawyers again were stressing that behind their reasoning was that if she were allowed to come back, it would expose the public to an increased risk of terrorism. Even if Shamima Begum did get her citizenship back, she'd be in the situation of perhaps dozens of people still in Syria who'd gone to join ISIL, who are actually not allowed to come back. The authorities there will only grant them permission if the UK government says, please do so. They're not minded to do that. It's a very unusual situation compared to many other countries, including around Europe and the US, who have repatriated their citizens, often to stand trial or to be held in high security facilities. But for now, Shamima Begum is stuck in Syria.
Thank you so much, Nadim Baba, for that update from London.